Well, hello, and I apologize about the delay tonight. I know I said 8 o'clock, and one thing I've learned, one thing, and I know he's watching. My first gentleman, he says you must be prompt, you must be on time. So I apologize for not being on time tonight. I take full responsibility for that. Period. But tonight. I am excited. Let me just tell y'all I'm excited because we got a really good show tonight. Tonight we have two people on the show. One whom I say is like political mom of the state, even though she's a few years older than I am, and then the other one is like my political son. I have both of them on the show tonight. I'm truly excited to have Jennifer Rourke from the Rhode Island political. I'm gonna say cooperative, and I'm probably then got it wrong. And Jennifer can correct me, throat punch me the next time she sees me. It's fine. And then we have Executive Director Harrison Tuttle here today, as well from the Rhode Island BLM Rhode Island PAC. I am excited to talk to both of them because every time they come on, they drop some knowledge, some wisdom on me tonight. I mean, on me, period. But before we do, it is Black History Month, and I want to give a Black History salute to someone, and I want to give a Black History salute to the one and only Marcus Garvey. Oh yeah, that's gonna rustle some feathers, and let me just tell you, I don't care because Marcus Garvey. What was he famous for? Marcus Garvey was known as the founder of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, founded in Jamaica in July 1914, right? And he aimed to achieve Black nationalism through the celebration of African history and culture. Marcus Garvey was born in 1887 on August 17, 1887, and he died June 10th, 1940. Marcus Garvey came here to the States, and he went to the United Kingdom, talking about Black nationalism, talking about his ideas, and was banned from both areas and sent back to Jamaica where he had died. Marcus Garvey is the reason why we have people like Malcolm X and even Dr. Martin Luther King, and as well as James Baldwin. So today we salute Mr. Marcus Garvey on his work and his contribution to the modern Black socialism movement and Pan-Africanism. Thank you very much, Mr. Marcus Garvey. Bam. With that said, y'all know I got some things I quickly want to talk about. So I'm gonna get into this a little bit later with Jennifer and Harrison. But white supremacists in Rhode Island, is anyone surprised? This is the state that just finally got and plantations off the name of the state. And let's not pretend like really I've been to South County. Anyway, but it doesn't surprise me, but we're going to talk about it. There's a lot of tea that's about to be spilled today, a lot of knowledge is about to be spilled. But before we get into that, I'm going to make my tea. I'm going to finish making my tea. I have 2 bags. I'm double brewing here, double brewing my tea bags today. And it's a lady lady gray, because I feel like a gray lady at times. Question: has anyone been on my Facebook page, and has anyone seen my drag debut? I did that last Tuesday. That was a lot of fun. Shout out to the girls on Tuesday night. Good luck tonight. They're doing, I think, Janet Jackson tonight down at Ego, Kira Stone, Lily White Ass, and all them. Have a lot of fun doing that tonight. But anyway, now that I've said that, my tea is done. Kim and Kanye, Kim Kardashian, Kanye West. I'm seeing everybody. There's people taking Kanye's side. There's people taking Kim's side, and all this stuff. And then there's Pete Davidson's side, and there's all these different sides and all these different opinions. And to be honest with you, I just want to say this plain out. I don't care. They're rich. Like, seriously, like, can we get to real problems in America? Seriously, we already know that Kanye West has mental health problems. We already know Kim Kardashian has a problem. She falls in love with guys, and the next thing you know, she leaves them. Let's look at her track record: Reggie Bush, Chris Humphries, now Kanye West, and furthermore, I don't have time for it. And then here comes Pete Davidson. Wait, slow your roll. Hold on. I don't have time for it. Don't have time for the drama or anything like that. They're rich. They're playing their life out in public. This is tiring. Let's really talk about the people who are really going through the same situation, but don't have the same amount of money and the public's really not paying too much close attention to. There are many people right now in America that are going through the same situation as Kanye West and Kim Kardashian and have that mix of Pete Davidson in it that we're not paying attention to at all, but yet we have to take time out of our day to sit here and comment and talk about it. Like, seriously, I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of Kanye West having his episodes. We all understand, like, Kanye is having, once again, a mental health trip. He's always shown these signs of mental health. And let's be real, Kanye West is the example of why men and women and people should really get their head checked. And you know what? At this point, looking at Kim Kardashian, may I dare say it, and I may get kicked off and people can hate me for this, but Kim Kardashian also may have some type of mental health situation going on. And I don't sit there and put it beyond it. But seriously, I'm tired of it. They make money. They're rich. I am sick of it. Goodbye. Boom. There you go. That's how I feel. With all that said, we got something really to celebrate, and I'm gonna celebrate this real quick, and then I'm gonna bring in my my friend today, and that is Jennifer. And I cannot wait to bring Jennifer on. But give me one quick second. So if everybody, justice has been served. Can I just say that? For once in America, for a black man, justice has been served. When we sit here and look at the history of black men and what has happened to black men and black women in this country, today, justice was served with the killers of Ahmaud Arbery not only have to face state charges for his murder, but now have to face federal charges for his murder and will be serving multiple lifetimes in prison for killing a unarmed black man for minding his business, for being vigilantes. Thank the Lord Almighty. I am like, let me tell you something. I don't wish ill upon anybody or anything like this. I don't pray ill upon anybody or anything like this. But this is what justice looks like in America. That's what justice really looks like. And finally, we get justice not just on the state level, at the local level, but also at the federal level. So all I can say is victory is mine. Victory is mine. Victory is ours. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, may I welcome the one and only Jennifer Rourke.
Hi.
Hi, love.
How are you?
I'm good. Listen, with that news today, you know, I feel good. I feel good. You know,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. There's other things that are going on, but we celebrate in the small moments?
Yep. We'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I will take it.
Yes. So how are you doing, love?
I could be better. You know,
Yeah.
I'm just sick of racists. I'm sick of them feeling as though they have a place here because they don't. So
that part. We're gonna get into that part. We're gonna get into that part. So you know what? Let's get into that now. Let's get into that now.
Mm-hmm.
1 second. For some strange reason, I got logged out my laptop here.
It's all right.
Right in the middle of the show. Yeah, I got logged out my account right in the middle of the show. This is what happens sometimes. So let me do my password.
Yeah. Can I share my person since?
Yes. Oh, actually, yes. That is actually the first question I had for you tonight. Who is your person for Black History tonight, Jennifer?
So my shirt says I am Black History. I just want to share that. But my person is Frederick Douglass.
Hey!
Yep.
You didn't want to tell me, but you know, Frederick Douglass, like, go ahead. You know what?
Yeah. So people don't realize that we ended up with these leaders over time because of what Douglass started. So yeah, he realized when he was 20 years old that his education, or him being educated, was his way out. And he ended up escaping to the north, and him and his wife, and he educated himself, and because of him, we have the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, which allow for us to vote. It started with the ability for Black men to vote, and then it led for others to vote, and it also led to things like marriage equality and just making sure that we have access, we have the rights that we are supposed to have. So Frederick Douglass is my person.
I love that, Jennifer, because of the fact that one of the books that when I was teaching literacy at a local charter school years ago, one of the books that I made sure that we read was The Life and Narrative of Frederick Douglass, which is a really short, a quick read, short read, but to know like the way he paints it out, especially from the very first line in the very first chapter, is just magnificent. And then you have The Life and Times of Frederick Douglass. I read that as well. But The Life and Narrative of Frederick Douglass, I think every person in America should really read.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's an autobiography.
Yep, I agree 100%. So he's my person.
Exactly. He was one of the many first ambassadors for the U.S. to
Haiti,
to the Jamaicas and Haiti.
Yep. So. Yep, he's my person. I have a shirt that says Frederick, Malcolm, Gordon. So yeah, but he is my person. So.
It's crazy because you got Frederick Douglass. When I look at pictures of Frederick Douglass, we see pictures of Frederick Douglass. It's the hair. He had the fro, the all natural fro. Like Frederick Douglass was the first one to make the all natural fro look cool.
Yep, that's him. And he was the most photographed person of the 19th century, I think it was. He was the most photographed person. So
that is true. That is true. So, Jennifer, let's get into it. So we're going to talk a little bit about with Harrison a little bit, but last night apparently there was white supremacists protesting in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. So the part that pisses me off is that people are trying to give them a pass. And they're trying to say that they were not Nazis or, they were just people protesting. No, sweetie. When you walk up somewhere and you do the Hail Hitler salute and you're carrying that flag with that symbol, you are not a protester. You are a domestic terrorist. You are a white supremacist, and you should be called out for what you are. You are a Nazi.
The last I checked, World War II, we fought against this country fought against Nazis, so that would be considered domestic terrorism. Yep. And I mean, I'm not surprised that people are trying to give them a pass because we even look at what happened with the insurrection on January 6th, 2021. We still look at 2021, and you look at people, the entire Republican Party. They don't want to call it insurrection. They're not calling it treason. They don't want to call it treason or anything like that. So I'm not shocked. I'm really not shocked again, and I'm not shocked that this happened in this state.
I'm not either. I'm not. People don't realize there's actually a huge cell of neo-Nazis, not only in Rhode Island, but just over the border of Massachusetts. And they're in denial about it. Like, it pisses me. And I'm sorry to the people at Reading for having to deal with it because there's no need for it. And I know people are like, they were reading the Communist Manifesto. You're allowed to read a book. You're allowed to read whatever book you want to read.
Exactly.
That's why we have libraries. That's why we have writers and publishers.
I mean, what's the difference in me reading the Communist Manifesto or the history according to the Daughters of the Confederacy?
It depends on
what's the difference.
Who has a problem with it? Nothing.
I mean, what's the difference of me reading about the Communist Manifesto if I wanted to read the autobiography of David Duke?
Yep. And I don't understand why I don't get it. Yep.
It's about for information to understand. What the art of war, Sun Tzu, is know your enemy. So of course I'm gonna want to know and understand the multiply different things of life. But what's wrong with me reading things? Just because someone reads. I know people who are atheists and have read the Bible, Quran, and Torah.
Yeah. I don't get it. I really and the fact that people are trying to use that to justify their behavior is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. I don't
Would it
see
just
anything wrong with people reading.
well, I mean,
Yep.
okay, I'm done.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, there's no other way to describe it anymore, Jennifer. It's like a constant slap in the face. It's a constant knock in the head. You know, like I said, yes, I'm celebrating in the moment about these men not only having to face state charges, but also federal charges for the killing of Ahmaud Arbery, an innocent black man who was unarmed and just wanted to look at a construction site, or was just jogging down, or just walking. It doesn't matter what he was doing. He didn't deserve to die.
Yep. I
You
agree.
know, we're celebrating that these men finally were getting justice because you know, I don't remember, but I know being told by my grandmother and my great aunts and uncles the feeling of when Emmett Till made national news.
Yep. Yeah. That pain.
So to see that happen let's celebrate that moment, but also remember, everyone, there's work to be done because, you know, today we get this victory, but yesterday, that right in here in Rhode Island, in our own backyard, we had neo-Nazis, we had Nazis, just casually walking through doing a protest.
Yep. And I don't think it was casual. It was to make the people in the building fearful.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm saying casual as a.
That's how it was treated, though. It was
treated.
Yeah, that's how it was treated, as a casual protest.
Wasn't casual, not at all.
Yeah, not even close.
But so we gotta bring in the young one. We gotta, you know, we can't forget about the young ones. You know, you and I, you know, pretty soon they're gonna be telling us we gotta step aside, Jennifer. We gotta make sure we wait for.
I'm still young.
Me too. I got another. I tell everybody I got another good 5 years in me.
Yeah, I'm still young. I'm only in my 20s. No comment? That's fine. I'm only in my 20s.
You know what? Me too. I'm only in my 20s.
That's right. I'm not gonna say which number I am. I'm in my 20s.
Nope, I'm in my 20s. Don't worry about it. You know what? And you know what? People will believe us. We'll walk right out with them. People will believe us.
We're in our 20s.
Yeah, we're right in our 20s.
That's right. I'm claiming it.
Eat your heart out. No.
Yes. That's so cute. Yeah.
So let's bring in the one and only Harrison Tuttle.
All right.
Hey everyone.
Hi.
Hey Harrison. So I'm gonna say this. I got it all mixed up. Harrison was supposed to be the friend tonight, and Jennifer was supposed to be the special guest. But like, to be honest with you, I guess either worked. You know, you both could have rolled with the punches. That was my fault. I apologize to the audience if that's what you were following. My bad. But before we get on to like some hot topics and things like that, Harrison, let me ask you a question. Last year, you said Malcolm X was who you admired the most. This year, who would you pick?
So I want to kind of, before I give an answer, put in context how I was feeling last year and why I picked Malcolm X. Last year, at the time that I spoke to you, I had just, become executive director, and I really took pride in taking that position, and was really angry at not only the world that I'm growing up in, but also the elected officials that represent Rhode Island. And Malcolm X, to me, and still does, represents a unapologetic black man that stood against white supremacy and power structures that have for too long not only killed but also have tried to silence people fighting against white supremacy. And so that's why I picked Malcolm X. But if I were to pick a different person today, I would say Fred Hampton. And that's because Fred Hampton, similar to me, was around my same age when he got involved in community organizing. And in many ways, I still look up to what he does when it comes to bringing different coalitions of people together on both sides of the political wings to fight for working class people. And I just really found that, Fred Hampton was someone who was extremely inspirational and someone that, I look up to for guidance every day.
So thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. I tell everybody I'm a huge Malcolm X fan. Like I tell everybody, like my favorite speech by him is The Ballad or the Bullet. And I think I told you that last year. I just absolutely love that speech because it's either we vote on the ballot or we're not going to die by a physical bullet, but it's a metaphorical bullet. By we don't vote, then we're doomed, basically. And that's how I always interpret that from Malcolm X. And he was very, he was very balanced on calling out, as he put it, Dixiecrats, and he also called them. He had a name for the Republicans. I can't remember what it was, but Malcolm was that person. But speaking of that fight, the fight that you talk about, Fred Hampton, I talked a little bit with Jennifer about it. Right here in our own backyard in Rhode Island, there were white supremacists, as other media wants to put it, as it was a peaceful protest. I don't call it a peaceful protest or anything like that. You are the executive director of BLM Rhode Island, BLM Rhode Island PAC. What is your response to this? I have to ask that question first.
Yeah. Well, today there was a lot of attention and media drawn towards what happened at Red Ink. I want to first off say that I'm extremely thankful for the people that were inside, that they were not harmed. I can only imagine what they were going through, what their mind, what they were thinking when they looked outside and there was a Nazi flag. It's just, I've been talking to a lot of people today, and when every single time that I say it out loud that there were Nazis outside of a community library, it registers, but it's really incredible to see that really since 2016, how empowered white supremacists are to go out and essentially terrorize people. And we're at a point in time now where, we are so divided as a country that, I really have fear that, our democracy is at risk. And I think, it's incredibly important that we support candidates that are progressive now more than ever in our General Assembly to, not only have a government that works for people, but have a government that is even represented in some sort of democracy, which is clearly a threat.
So let me ask both of you a question, and either one of you can go first on this, Jennifer or Harrison. For something to go down like this right here in our own backyard in the state of Rhode Island, what does the state need to do? What legislation do they need to enact to ensure that we can no longer see, or we make sure that and make it known that Rhode Island is not going to stand for white supremacy, and they're not going to stand for any racial hate at all? What single piece of legislation or what series of legislation do either one of you think that could happen to make sure that happens?
Do you want me to go first?
Go ahead, Jen.
So I think we need to make things like what happened a real hate crime. And I think people get so caught up in this whole BLM, Antifa, neo-Nazi, white supremacy thing. They really don't understand the truth behind it. And they create these narratives that what the Nazis were doing was okay. And that what BLM does is bad. Because the news has pushed it in their head that BLM is this Antifa group and they're so bad. But there's a difference between being a fascist and being anti-fascist. And being a Nazi and being a fascist is saying that you don't like me because, one, of the color of my skin. You don't like me because of the religion I practice. And what you're trying to do is to make sure that one specific race is constantly being uplifted and another race and other religions and other sexualities are constantly being pushed down. So when they do incidents like that, it should be banging on windows, intimidating people that way. That's a hate crime. And we need to treat it as such. And we need to stop calling them peaceful protesters. We need to stop calling them, people having a rally. No, they are domestic terrorists, period. But then at the same time, they're going to try and take it and flip it on the movement that's trying to push for progress. There's a difference between being a hate group and being a group pushing for progress. So we need to make sure that when the intent behind the protest or the intent behind the tactic that they're trying to push is something that is hateful and something that is scary, that we make sure it is a hate crime and it's labeled as such and they are treated as domestic terrorists, period.
Agreed. Harrison.
Yeah, so a lot of what Jennifer said was spot on. One of the only things that I would add towards that is, there is a continued effort, throughout the country, in different areas, whether it's critical race theory, or even Representative Patricia Morgan's Parents' Bill of Rights, which is just ridiculous.
Yep.
There are a string of legislation here in Rhode Island and throughout the country that really wants to distort reality and distort the impacts and the history that is what brings us here today, that we know is true. And so, I would like to see a continued effort to not only educate the public around Black history, but also educate the public around global white supremacy and the different forms that it takes. Specifically, when you look at the class struggle that white supremacy originated under in Europe.
Agreed. I'm over here laughing because the actual next topic is actually Representative Patricia Morgan.
Oh, great.
Ooh, Lord.
Hold on.
So I've got a lot to say because I'm not exactly happy today because of what's happened the last 24 hours. So yeah, I would. Can I go first, Jen? After Dion answers his question.
Wait. Is it about Morgan?
Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Wait. I don't know if I'm right. Let me just get my tea. Last year was a record for anti-LGBT state law being introduced in state legislation across the country, and this year is trying hard to break that record. Right here in Rhode Island, Representative Morgan is promoting a Parents' Bill of Rights. Every time I sit there and I think that God doesn't love me. He does. The title sounds legit, but the law will enforce teachers and education staff to report everything about the kids to the parents, even if the child is fearful of their parents. LGBTQ youth will stay in the closet longer, and we will cease to write. It's okay. Let me reread this because. According to this bill, right, The law will force teachers and education staff to report everything about the kids to the parents, even if the child is fearful of their parent. Right? So I know for myself, okay, coming out was not easy. To come out to my family, come out to my parents, come out. It wasn't easy. It really wasn't, you know. Even though they said they knew, they had suspicion, things like it still wasn't easy. And for many of us, it isn't easy. And a lot of us find comfort in our teachers, our coaches, our teacher assistant, or just the office secretary and telling them. And here now they have to report that everything that we say to them to the parents. And what if the parent is abusing? And here's the other side. What if the parents are abusing the child and all this stuff? But she wants to put this piece of legislation in, among other things that's wrong with Representative Patricia Morgan. Since Jennifer went first on the last one, Harrison, go.
So obviously, this bill in which, you would think that common legislation, that benefits people, like, being able to have a law on the books that bans and makes it illegal for police officers to sexually assault people in their custody, layups, being able to hold police officers accountable, when they shoot someone and not, take a paid vacation off and wait for their buddies to have an internal investigation. But, so my faith in the General Assembly, I have none. But, aside from the fact that this will no doubt increase the number of suicides by teens because of the not only lack of empathy, but lack of understanding when it comes to the bill and what Patricia Morgan is saying, which is that they have mental health and issues, and that somehow being gay or transgender is a mental illness. It's ridiculous. And these elected officials seem to always care about the Parents' Bill of Rights when there are just so many issues in the school system that, parents and students actually deserve. How about we actually have an education system that protects our most vulnerable and special education? How about we add more special education teachers so kids like me going through the educational system don't fall behind and struggle and continue to have multiple grade level deficiencies and things like English and math? How about we actually focus on improving infrastructure and actually not having a school that has mold and has rain and water falling from the ceilings? How about
she focused on getting a new hairdresser so she doesn't have to look like that on the camera? There's many questions we can focus on.
How about we pay our teachers a salary that is actually adequate to, let's even say, Massachusetts? And how about we actually get police officers out of the school system so the prison to the school to prison pipeline ends? All of those things are not a priority and are not being had in the General Assembly because it's an election year and no one wants to piss anybody off. So instead, we're going to get this Parents' Bill of Rights that is fueled by right-wing conservatives that empower Nazis that literally go outside libraries to enact and be not only racist, but homophobic and transphobic. I'm done.
Wow.
Well then.
All right. I like when Harrison gets fired up. So.
Right. Listen, it's just.
Yeah. So I'll give it to you from the mother's perspective. I have 4 children. Mm-hmm. My oldest is a gay Black male. Mm-hmm. And I'll be damned if I'm going to allow some teacher to come and tell me about my child. But there's a difference between a parent's Bill of Rights and a I hate anything that is different than I am Bill of Rights. And that's what she's trying to push. She's pushing a narrative of everyone needs to be cisgendered. And if you have an inkling that someone is not, you need to tattletale. It's not her business to worry about what my child is doing. If she really gave a damn about me as a parent, she would be pushing for legislation to make sure that there's enough funding for my child to have a constitutional right to a quality public school education. She would be pushing legislation to make sure that my child has access to the healthcare that they need, that they have clean water and clean air. But instead, she's so worried about what is happening in my child's pants. And they talk about people like the bill that Senator Mack is pushing to teach our children about sexual pleasure and what sex ed really is. And she's calling them pedophiles, but she's more concerned about the sexuality about students that she has no business dealing with. So people like her make it harder for students like my son to decide when they're ready to come out. She makes it harder for students who are part of the community to say, this is my time to decide what I want to be, how I want to come out and say it to my family. And what she's doing is she's pushing these students further and further into the closet, and she's pushing them towards suicide. That's it. There are so many men, and I say men because Black men have a hard time coming out to their families. So there's so many Black men that have difficulty coming out to their families because of the stigma that lies with it, because of uneducated people. And the history of Black men being beat over and over again for showing a little bit of femininity within the Black community. So what you're making it is harder and harder for Black men to come out and say, this is me. And you're making it harder for anyone that identifies as not cisgendered and heterosexual to be who they truly are. And people like her have a place in hell that is surrounded by gasoline jugs, because that's where she belongs. And that's where that bill, and as a parent, I would love a parent's Bill of Rights that pertains to a quality education for my student. That's a parent Bill of Rights. Not this book. I almost cussed. Not this BS. And she needs more Black friends. She only got one, or she had one, so.
Well, with all that said, I don't know if I need to continue to give my response to this entire bill. Like, to be seriously, all I can say is Patricia Morgan, get it together. Like, seriously. I mean, I just think she continually misses the mark, period. And I'm not giving any excuse. Not trying to be light or anything like this, but I'm trying to refrain myself from saying a few choice words that I have chosen not to say and refer to people as and talk about people in that way. But, like, for real, Patricia Morgan, can you do us all a favor and stop being a bitch?
Yeah. Kick rocks with no socks down a long dirt road.
Like, it's literally like, it's so funny because Chris Rock said years ago, I'll never forget, Chris Rock had said that the Tea Party, which Tea Parties kind of die out now, they're just complete extremists now. But those people, it seems like racism and these people, racism, homophobia, they're losing. They continue losing every day. They're looking at television every day. They're looking at laws being changed. And even though it's not big, but something like Ahmaud Arbery happening, or when gay marriage was passed, they feel like they're losing their America. Those people are dying out. And they said, what happens when a baby is tired and you try to put a baby down? He said, trying to put a baby down at the last second. They keep crying and make a bunch of noise and make a bunch of racket. And that's what they're doing. They're continually making a bunch of racket. Patricia Morgan is one of them. You even look, when Doreen Costa was a state senator, she did the same exact thing. Just make a lot of noise as they're continually dying out, not just in this state, but even across the country. But here's my thing. I just wish that, like you said, Jennifer, that she would legislate from a parental perspective and understand the numbers, understand the fact, especially when it comes to Black and brown men. I mean, I will speak from my own experience. It was very hard to come out. It was very hard. I've never really told my come out story, but I didn't come out until I was about 23 years old. I didn't come out until I was 23 years old. And even though I came out to my friends when I was 20, but I didn't come out to my family until I was 23 years old. And by that point, I had already started dating and dated a few guys at that point and all this stuff. But I had gone to gay clubs plenty of times, but I didn't come out until then. And when I look back at it, well, one of my friends, I was on his podcast recently, and he said, you denied it so much. And, we knew, he said he wishes, that I knew that I accepted myself for who I was a lot earlier, because he feels like a lot of the things that I'm doing now would have blossomed into my full self. He says now he feels later on, 10 years later in my life, 10, 11 years later in my life, you're getting the full effect. I just told my age, which is fine. Yes.
No, we're still in our 20s. We're still in our 20s. We're still in our 20s.
I am 22 years old.
Yeah. So, and it was hard, even with my mother, even to this day. And if I can just be frank for a moment, can I be transparent? Is all right?
Always.
And I'm just going to be transparent with my mother, even to this point. Last week I had my drag debut for the first time, something that I've always wanted to do. And, I remember a few months ago when my mother first saw me in heels and a purse and my hair braided, my makeup done in a picture. My mother asked me if I was transitioning. And it wasn't from a place of, what I felt for the first time was from a place of my mother was not understanding.
Yeah.
And so I had to talk to my mother, and she's like, well, I feel like I'm gonna lose my son. And I told her, you're not gonna lose your son. You're not losing your son. I said, I just love the androgyny. I love my pronouns being he and they. When I'm out in the community, it's they. When I'm in the professional world, yes, it's he. And they're going to know. But also, at the same time, know that your son's not just speaking up for people like me. I'm speaking up for people even like my mother, speaking up people like Jennifer and Harrison. I'm speaking up for all of us at the same time, for us to be our own authentic selves in this country. And if we sit down and work, we get up and work, and we have to live in this country each and every day, we should be allowed to be our authentic self without consequence, without any ridicule, without any legislation stopping us or blocking us.
Yep. Amen. I will say, when my son came out, I was shocked because I wasn't. I don't know if, as a parent, I don't know if I wasn't ready for it, but I think maybe the way that he did it, because he did it over the phone, and I don't know. I cried because I was like, what am I supposed to do now? I was like, am I supposed to stop loving you? I was like, because I can't. Like, you're my baby. That's never gonna happen. But the part that pissed me off was the first day he walked in my house with hoop earrings. And it's not because he was wearing hoop earrings. He was wearing the wrong size hoop earrings for his slim head, and it pissed me off so badly. First of all, and I was pissed. I was like, how are you gonna walk in my house with these big ass earrings on and your head is about this big? No. I was so mad. But I want him to be who he is, and I want him to be himself. But I just want to make sure that he's wearing the right size earrings. That's all I ask. That's it.
Oh, you ask.
That's all I'm asking for.
Like seriously, and it's crazy because like Ma, listen. Like I told my mother, listen, Ma, don't be upset that I'm wearing makeup. Just be happy that I look good. Yep,
that's it. And if your earrings are too big, I'm gonna tell you, those earrings are too big for your peanut head. Let me know, Ma.
Yeah. If my lips are too red, let me know. Just say, hey, it's too red. You look like a whore on a Friday night. Just say it, Mom.
Ruby Woo is the best red lipstick out there. Just saying, if you need a red lipstick, Ruby Woo. Just saying.
You gotta figure that. I'm building up my makeup kit.
Yeah, Ruby Woo.
A lot of fun. But with that said, we're getting almost close of the hour. I did want to do something with the two of you. I did this last week. Oh, by the way, I gotta make fun of this. The last time Harrison was here, Harrison said he was going to beat you in the number of times he is on the show, Jennifer. And so I just want to make this very clear. This is the 6th time the both of you have been on the show.
Like
That's it.
totally? Like totally?
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're tied.
Yes, you're tied right now. You're
Wait, you
tied.
started in like 2019? Wait, hold up.
So let me be clear. Jennifer started in 2019. I started in 2020 of March. And Ken, which, honestly, I'm starting to think that this is some sort of agenda. But Ken, the producer, Ken Barber,
Damn,
put
you got this whole
me and Jennifer on the same damn show because he knew he didn't want a black man to thrive.
First of all, sweetie, this isn't a competition because you're in competition with yourself. I will always be number one, okay? I will always beat you. You can come here 25 times, I will still beat you.
And then I can't confirm or deny this, but Ken then put out a Twitter poll that was put together by that skewed the poll results.
You're such a hater, Harrison. Like, you're such a hater. Let me get my flowers. Let me be number one. It's all right.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Wait. Y'all just called Ken. Harrison called Ken all the way out. All the way out.
That's the only problem I have with Ken. The only one.
Are you saying that Ken is creating a beef between the two of you?
No.
Look,
I don't beef with nobody. They beef with themselves. So you go ahead and keep fighting with yourself.
I want to publicly state that I have no further comment on this situation.
I need you to comment. Speak your mind. I will say what I
needed to say.
No, I will say I don't beef with anybody. If you have an issue with me, you have an issue with yourself because I'm not fighting you over nothing. Just know that I won, Harrison.
All right.
I won.
You see this? You see that?
You know what? I had some Black History facts that I'm gonna ask y'all some questions.
Okay.
Y'all done sat there and went back and forth. Here's the thing. I don't mind having either one of you on. It's always a great time. I'll be honest.
Clearly, it's Ken's fault.
We can't invite Harrison to the cookout no more. You can't come over no more.
Well, wait, no. I mean, he still could come to the cookout. He's gotta have some tater salad.
Wait, have you done tea time with Taylor yet, Harrison?
I have.
How many times?
Have you?
Oh, wait, see.
Wait, no. Twice.
Damn. All right, you got that one. My first one is Friday. You got that one.
Yep.
That's cool. I don't like Dion. I'm only on camera because I love Dion. And I love Ken because y'all know I like to be behind the scenes.
I like it.
So with that said, I was gonna do some Black History facts, but we are actually starting to run out of time, and I got to go to final thoughts.
Yep.
But know that this, before I really go out, no, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna give that in my final thoughts.
Okay.
So, what our final? It's always a great pleasure to have Jennifer and Harrison on. Period. I just want to say that. Whoever wins this competition by the end of the season, how about this? We'll get a poll going. Now I'm doing this. We'll get a poll going.
See, the problem is that Ken has proven to be not trustworthy, and
damn!
So he'll put out a poll that is, and he'll get his Russian bots to vote for Jennifer.
You're such a
and the problem is that I can't control who's being on the show more. I'm starting to think that we should probably count Kamika as me as well, representing.
I'm about to call your mama, and I'm gonna tell your mama to come up and pop you upside your head. That's what
right now. Wait, did he just say that Kamika counts? Kamika, are you hearing this? Kamika, listen. Somebody tag Kamika. Somebody tag Kamika right now and let Kamika know Harrison said that her coming on the show counts as him coming on the show. You know what, Harrison? If that's the case, then that all counts as Corey Jones.
Ooh.
Yeah, but Corey hasn't been on in a while. I'll take it.
All right. With all that said, it's always a great pleasure to have Harrison and Jennifer on the show. We always talk about great things around the state, and not just around the state, but also just in life. Period. So thank them both for being on the show. But we got to go to our final thoughts, and we're gonna start with Ken Barber says Jennifer.
So I'll make it easy. I always say the same thing every time. Make sure y'all get out and vote. Get your friends registered. This is a big year for us. Like, we really need y'all to get out there and vote. I will say I'm going to beat Harrison. I am going to beat him. But please, 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 please turn to your loved ones and tell them you love them. Ask them if they're registered. Bring them to the polls. Because we have the opportunity to really get a General Assembly that represents us. People that look like us, that are fighting for what we're fighting for, that believe what we believe, that don't believe in hatred, that believe in love. So I always say this. I always say I'm a progressive because I believe in progress and moving forward. And I don't believe in regressing backwards because that does not work for people like me. So please make sure you get your friends registered to vote and get out and vote. That's it. That's all I got. Oh, wash your hands and wear a mask.
Yeah, that too. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Harrison, final thoughts.
Yeah, so I want to kind of share something that I was thinking last night, and I told Jennifer last night. I did a lot of hate for today, but I love Jennifer, and I want to have my last take an appreciation to you, Jennifer, and the work that you've done, not only with the co-op, but works with the Women's Project and the PAC and all of the behind the scenes that you do when it comes to candidates, not only helping them set up and run their account, but the essential therapy that you give every candidate as well. And you just, you take on so much and you really never seem like you're affected by it when you put so many other people in front of you. And, I want to say thank you. And, one of the reasons why this state is going to change is because of people like Jennifer Rourke. And I can't say enough how many projects that Jennifer is behind that have resulted in us moving forward as a state. And I just hope that one day that you get your props from everyone because you are truly on the Mount Rushmore of people in this state when it comes to making progress.
You're gonna make me cry. I owe you a hug. I love you. Harrison, I love you like a fat kid.
No way, you were just gonna beat him up. Now you're
all time. He's like the little brother I never asked for. So
right.
But I appreciate that so much, Harrison.
Love you, Jen.
I love you too, Harrison.
So thank you so much, Harrison. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you so much, everyone, for viewing. My final thoughts, I'm not going to be on next week because I do have class next week. And then I'll be on the following week. I can't wait for that episode as well. But this is going to be my last show for this year, 2022 Black History Month. I feel as though right now we, not just in our state, but across our country, we are in a time of not just a war that we can see, but a war that we can't see at the same time. And at times like this, I like to go back and get words from our ancestors. And one of those people, today earlier, I talked about Marcus Garvey, who was, the founder of Black nationalism. And Harrison did speak so eloquently about Malcolm X and even Fred Hampton. And we're talking about fighters here, people who are willing to do things, any means by necessary. But another person who was a poet, Claude McKay, wrote a poem called "If We Must Die." And I'm going to read that poem to close out tonight for my final thoughts and my final thoughts for Black History Month. And it goes, if we must die, let it not be like hogs, haunted and pinned in an inglorious spot, while round us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mark at our cursed lot. If we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us through dead. O kinsmen, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave. And for their 1,000 blows deal one death blow. What though before us lies the open grave? Like men will face the murderous cowardly pack, pressing to the wall, dying, but fighting back. Let us get ready to fight back tonight. Fight back with our words, fight back with our hearts, and also, if we have to, that's it. Have a good night, Rhode Island.